Hello and welcome to Industry Spotlight with Creative First. Our guest today is Svetlana Sharma Kanwar, founder director of Turquoise Media Works and Light Language Films. Her experience in the industry spans over 2 decades in domestic and international markets. Svetlana has worked with reputed studios and production houses such as AdLab Films, Filmcraft, Reliance Big Pictures, and Phantom. She worked on box office hits such as Three Idiots, Spa, The Dirty Picture, and Queen. She was also an integral part of the films division at CAA Quon, India's leading talent house, and worked very closely with Madhu Mantena on both Quon and Phantom films. Her role included film packaging, literary adaptations, business development, and overlooking release strategies. Her first film as a producer was titled Leila Manju. Under her leadership, Turquoise Media Works has successfully handled global marketing and PR for Satya Prem Ki Katha, Teri Baaton Mein Ulja Jiya, Shaitan, Crew, Shrikant, Munjia, Chandu Champion, and Kalki 2898 AD. Svetlana, welcome to this discussion.
Hi, thank you so much for having me. It's a pleasure.
Tell us about your journey from being a specialist in the field of marketing to being the founder of Turquoise Media Works.
It's an accidental journey in many ways. Never intended, honestly, but I think I'm glad I made it here. And so my journey started with Ad Labs as a marketer, and that started with obviously domestic marketing. So we had a central marketing team, and I've been part of that. So it's been 20 years of marketing journey and 15 years of overseas. So when I joined Reliance, I was part of the overseas. I headed overseas marketing for Reliance, and I think that's when the I got me at my wings there, and immense learning. I had a great team. I had great mentors, great bosses. And I think that kind of opened me to the possibility of what marketing really does and can do as a potential, box office potential for film. So, yeah, I mean, that really, really added to my experience in many, many bigger ways. And then obviously it was never looking back. And then I ended up being part of the first 100 crore club, which was Gajni. Then it was the first 300 crore club, which was Three Idiots. Three Idiots was again a very, very big learning experience because that was the first time overseas really, really opened new locations for films. There was a massive research and work that we all put in to create, a bigger market for Indian films overseas. We actually first time got into doing a customized region-wise marketing plan for each territory, hand holding it, and that's what Three Idiots was then at the end of it. So yeah, I mean, we all know the numbers, we all know the love it got. And then yes, I mean, I've been part of some also great journeys which weren't that big, but yes, where there were women led films like Dirty Picture and Queen, which I'm extremely proud of, as proud of as I've been probably of Three Idiots, because I think those were films which everybody said are not overseas friendly films and will not do anything, because obviously, we have an ocean around big male stars. And I think glad that we were part of maybe a very small part of changing the narrative in some way, but yes, it did help. And then, I mean, coming to where recently, then I thought of independently consulting, and then finally was born was Turquoise Media Works of that. And so last 1 year has been extremely exciting. From Satya Prem Ki Katha to Stree to now. It's been a great journey, immense learning. And I think, and today the world is where I think they're more open to the way kind of content we're rolling out. And the reception that we're receiving with even the Indian audiences abroad has been overwhelming. And we know the numbers of the most films this year and very recent Stree too.
The increase in digital penetration has rapidly changed the marketing landscape. What have been some of the most impactful changes in this space?
Well, I think digital marketing has been a big boon. Digital space per se, I think we've all kind of come so closer together. The boundaries have shrunk, and how. And as a marketer, I've seen a world where marketing was very, in a very different way. I'm talking 20 years ago when we started off. Okay, marketing meant something else completely. Uh, Digital was probably just a very small percentage, and it was all about making a website for a film, and maybe few. Slowly, it went on to few ads on some websites, and we used to do some, website advertising, and then social media took over, and now we know where we are. Today, my plans are where I have 50% plan is all about digital marketing. And as a marketer, it gives me a better reach, but a better understanding. I know exactly whom I'm talking to. whom I'm targeting. I have exact demographic, I have exact psychographics, I have a data to support that. Today, I can go back to my client and say, okay, this works, this doesn't work, in many ways. So yes, I think, it kind of gives me a very scientific approach to what I'm doing. But at the same time, it also gives me a far bigger reach today. Like I can be, for me, it's very easy. I can do a personal communication with you because it's via your phone. I mean, I'm talking to each individual in that way. I mean, me putting up a hoarding has a possibility of someone looking at it. I'm not denying that it's not an important part. It's a reminder medium, a billboard, but me reaching as a primary communication about my film on a digital platform, straight to your phone to you, that doesn't give me better power than a marketer than this.
You mentioned digital media is really a boon. So, how do you see traditional media channels evolving in the future?
Well, I think also if you look at you and me, I mean, I think let's look at how we view TV today. Are we going and doing the appointment viewing? We don't. It's gone now. Today, we all have smart TVs. We all have apps on our televisions, and it's all about when I want to watch, what I want to watch, and how much I want to watch. Today, I have the power. Okay. There were times when we would all run home and rush home, and, there would be curfew on roads when there were special programs playing. And we have all seen that eras of Ramayan playing, or even Kahani Ghar Ghar Ki, and, all of those, Main Kyunki Saas Bhi Kabhi, but those are very important, iconic shows where streets were empty. But today, it's about I can come home at whatever time and I have the remote in my hand and I decide. So it is also a lot of responsibility today as a marketer because I know there's a decision in someone else's hand. So I can be put off in like 10 minutes if somebody is not really engaging with me. But I think at the same time, it is a great place to be in because you are reaching to wider audiences. It's not about, oh, I need to be at this time. If someone misses me, can't see me again. I mean, I can be rewatched and watched and whatever. I'm there always. So yes, it kind of really, really helps. It also comes with a bigger challenge because of so much communication already, there's an overload and there's so much being spoken and done in terms of digital around, that it's very scary for me in the sense of I really need to stand out. My communication needs to be really, really, very effective so that I grab your attention in that whatever few seconds that I have, because we all watching reels today. I mean, the attention span that we all are dealing with is too short. And there's so much communication from brands to other programs to other films, and there's world content today. I'm not competing with just my language. I'm competing with avalanche of content that's happening around everybody. So I think it's very important in terms of how effective is my communication there. So yes, the strategy needs to be very thought through. But overall, if you ask me, it's a great boon. It's nothing gets better than being able to having the power that I have today.
Could you quote some examples where data analytics and audience insights have helped shape successful media strategies?
I mean, all of the films that we work with, honestly, everything is data based. It's not that that we kind of just go on a Excel sheet and say, okay, I want to do this. It doesn't work like that. So every film, like there are times we think something worked. Okay, why did it work? Also is important so that we know how it worked and then use it more effectively the next time. Like today, digital is not only about advertising. Digital is not just all about having your ads play, but digital is about viral marketing. It's about CG marketing. It's also about influencer marketing. So, and we've implied all that stuff. So we tried. You try something, you see how it goes. There's a data that comes back when it's done. Then we analyze. Okay, it worked. So I have started to do that with a few films of mine, and it started working. So when it worked, then you obviously go back to your drawing table and with your team and you sit and you say, okay, fine. Now, we can probably push the envelope on this film this way. So yes, obviously your permutation combinations are something that we keep working with. But I think most films that we work with are completely researched. We rework, we look at every data, even region wise, because with overseas, it's very important which territory is working how. So engagement wise, where the engagements are coming, So all of that, and it keeps changing. We know the exact. So that's what I'm saying. The best part about doing digital is I know which TG is engaging with me. What's the age group like? Which area, which region are they, responding to me from? All of that. So I mean, at times maybe my traditional thinking is this works, and might be there's something new that comes up and says, oh God, this is working too. So it's always that we add all those learnings to our newer films, and you can see what we did from this year. Just as Teri Baaton Mein Uljha Jiya, overseas numbers to three to overseas numbers, if you see. So from Teri Baaton Mein Uljha Jiya, Shaitan, Crew, and now Stree 2. You can see my learnings, and we've only pushed the envelope at the box office, and we've only delivered better. So, and if you look at traditionally, none of those films were told, a lot of trade people were, oh, you're really, I don't think so. This is going to do the kind of numbers you're thinking, but we did.
That's excellent. With a significant amount of content going straight to OTT platforms, how does the approach to marketing differ between these releases and a theatrical release?
Well, see, I mean, there are two very different worlds in many ways, but your TG is still the same. It's not straight going to the OTT platforms. Now we have a 8-week rule that we all know, there has to be a theatrical play to the OTT. But there are certain still films that are going to the OTT straight. They are made for OTTs. The content is different, firstly. Secondly, see, also the marketing approaches are very different. Okay. I mean, yes, maybe you're talking to a similar audience, but my marketing numbers are very box office led. OTT is very subscription led. They're looking at audiences which are longer audience in terms of being engaged to the platform for all the content that they have. And maybe the hook is whatever the bigger content they're playing out, like a bigger film this week or something. But for me, it's still very box office. It is still the day one and the weekend numbers. It is still about, the wider reach and all of that. Because I'm not only talking to a tribe that I have built over my platform or something, it's about a wider reach. So yes, I mean, we're very different in many ways. But I mean, if you ask me, channel-wise, the channels are the same. But yes, your communication then strategies is what defines who you're talking to and how you want to reach them.
Right. How much and in what capacity do marketing teams have a say in the decision to develop a project? Are markets being tested and studied prior to release, even before it's produced?
Well, there is a lot of scientific data that's come into play these days. I mean, see, when I'm talking about when I started and we were part of the marketing team in places like Ad Labs or probably Reliance, we were part of the narrations, the first narration that would happen in the studio. And our job was to commercially see how viable it looks like, to the actor options that are being presented, by the guy who's bringing in the film to us. What are the options, how viable, and then what it looks like on paper. So my job throughout in my career also has been at times to analyze the viability of a project in many ways. And also as distribution, I think, you kind of only look at the commercial viability most of the time of a film, right? Because it's all about numbers at the end of the day. It's hardcore business. So yes, it's important. Markets are being studied. Today, scripts are being studied, which was not there before. Today, we used to have focus group screenings probably after the film is done. Today, you also have focus groups for your, scripts. There are script labs available today, for people to go to the experts and see what best can be done with the scripts. So yes, there is. I don't know in terms of market data, but I mean, I think most people who are in this business have been long enough. They know their market much better. I mean, we have some amazing people who are spearheading some big studios and production houses, and they exactly know what they're talking. I mean, they're all a masterclass in business in their own ways. So I don't think so. But yes, like Ormax has kind of really, come up with a lot of great support in terms of data research and stuff, which was a very absent place. We didn't have all that. So yes, fortunately, we have those kind of support systems today. And most studios are equipped with some great talent within the systems, from OTTs to production houses. And these are people who understand content and its reach better than anyone. It's not about mom and pop shops that way per se. Okay, oh, I just give job somebody to some, just because I know someone. Today, it's about we have experts who are really, being there in the market and doing things. And we also see the kind of content we're playing out, and we see the boom that OTT is getting or our content is getting, not just in India, worldwide.
That's great. Several releases you've worked on this year have been a success both in Indian and international markets. Stree 2 has seen a huge success and grossed over 456 crores worldwide. What does this say about the different markets and the content that they respond to?
Well, I think 2024 has been an exciting and rewarding year in many ways, a great learning as well. So yes, I think very overwhelmed with the kind of, so not just Stree 2, I think for me, films like Teri Baaton Mein Uljha Jiya, Shaitan, Crew, and then obviously now that Stree has done the numbers it has done, it's only pushing, that's what I was saying, earlier as well. We've only pushed the box office envelope further and further, and we've got immense learnings that have come back to what we did, and all those learnings were put back, and then there was something bigger that we could explore and put out in terms of strategy. Everything was extremely strategized. Okay. uh, every market, there's a proper research to each market, each territory. It's not about this works and there's an overall ki, oh, just ye kar diya, ye kar diya. It's not about that today. It's about, okay, what works in the US, what would work in Canada. Like for, I'll tell you, like a film like Crew, I'll give you an example. It was a very women-led film. It came around Holi, and the challenge I had was in terms of what do we do, because it was not like a typical in that sense of film. But what helped me, what was the biggest learning was me that the trailer landed well, the music was great, so I had two biggest tool to market, and I think 50% marketing is your trailer and music landing well. And that's about it. And then so what we did was, like, suppose as simple as that, we took over all the holy events that were happening across the world. So every city abroad, bigger city where Desis are present, we had a holy event. We painted everything called Holy with Choli kind of a thing. And we played the music and we played our trailers and we did flash mobs and we did dance workshops of teaching the hook steps. We tied up with Indian ladies groups in various countries. We engage them as our micro influencers to create reels and viral content. So it's not just about reaching out to the probably the big influencers and paying them big monies, because we also work with very optimized budgets. So the idea was to innovate and still channelize and go as wide as we could. Idea was penetration and reach, and to women. And we made it, and that's what we were, and the crew did what it did. So yeah, so I'm just giving you an example for that matter. But yes, I think the learning for me honestly has been two most important things for this year. Your trailer, very critical, very, very, very critical to the film. How it's, your 50% marketing is that. Rest everything is what I build up on it and how I sell it then further. And the music. I think if you see all the films that we did this year has either had great music, great trailer. And yes, and also there is a certain approach and a reach of a film, in terms of the content. Not every film becomes a very overseas friendly in that sense, but yes.
Could you elaborate on that? I mean, how do you really
So,
identify?
like, I'll tell you something like, if you look at overseas, they love a lot of happy films. They had loved big star films. Like UK was very friendly to what we call the exactly Karan Johar films, about shadi and Indian values and family and all of that. So overseas also has a certain type of cinema that really goes there. Dark content is something which is not very easy to put. And it kind of changed the way I also looked at the way I marketed those films there. And yes, because, and I'm not going to take that credit. I think it was purely the trailer. The trailer did the magic. And that's what I'm saying. So once your film trailer has landed well, and it, Crew teaser had done the same thing for us, when, and see, that's what I'm saying. Also, the actors, like luckily with Karina, she has a great fan following abroad. So it also helps you. But I'm saying it's not just your content then. Today, content is the key. So it's not all about star power, or it's not all about many other things, but it's purely all about the content at the end of the day. But yes, coming back to where I was coming from is, yes, the kind of content that, like Teri Baaton Mein Uljha Jiya, very sleek film, very high on music, and young kind of a love story in that sense. And the absolute it was, we knew it, like the day one I saw that, I was shown the trailer and I said, yeah, this is overseas. I mean, it's an easy cakewalk in that sense, it's not a hard sell for you. Idea is, how do we reach the right audiences and position it the way it's supposed to be? And so, yes, I mean, this is how it is. But I mean, yes, I mean, there are films that are now breaking barriers and doing bigger film things, like even Stree for that matter. It's done great numbers for us, and it's reached the right audience. Yes, it carried a lot of franchisee value, but coming to the overseas numbers, if you see, compare the number Stree 1 to Stree 2, there's immense difference. So yes, I mean, there's a lot of hard work that went for a few weeks of and strategies, and then its idea is to get the right TG and into your theaters. That's it. And then the word of mouth. See, then it's a snowball effect. Then it's my job is done once the weekend is delivered.
With a focus on global markets and landscapes, how do you assess and factor in cultural differences while developing marketing and distribution plans?
Well, I mean, as I was saying earlier, our plans are customized to the markets and sensibilities of the audiences there. There was a time when we used to even have different posters that would go abroad, and because considering the sensibilities of the market and stuff, like even in India, the kind of posters and creatives we would roll out for the Hindi heartlands were different than what would happen in probably the urban centers. It's a similar thing. So we would do that. Like, we would put out a lot of, I'm talking about initial years when we were going, we put out a lot of ensemble casts and, putting out all the faces out there and those kinds of posters abroad, so that, all these people are going to be in the film and giving the essence of the film and stuff like that. So we would do all that. Today, luckily, the creative game has also evolved a lot. The kind of creatives that are being rolled out are very similar. I think, we're pretty at par sensibility wise creatives, there's nothing that, has to be customized for overseas in that sense. We send out the same creatives and posters that are using in India. But yes, there is a certain set of creatives that we use there in terms of we harp a lot more, especially the ensemble where you have a lot of other people you bringing in basically which helps you position the film in the right space visually and to get that perception right. Okay, this is what the film is all about. Today our filmmakers are very well known, our production houses are very well known, people are looking forward to those names, we highlight those enough. So, and there's a great support that you get on ground also from your exhibitors and stuff to push that for you. So that's pretty much, where you are. But yes, coming to your basic core question is yes, we have to consider which market are we in, what sells where. Like even if a film, when I'm going, I know exactly which markets are we going. If it's a film which is, romance and stuff, I know I can do it very well in UK as well. And, I can push it everywhere. It's a family friendly film. It's action. I know where it'll work. I know the markets where action works better. So, when your genre is given to you, your actors, like I know the actors market as well. Like we know exactly which actor in which market, like how it works in India. If you have, up north who works and who works in probably, down south and stuff like that. And with similar, algorithms are used when we devise our strategies completely overseas.
What are some exciting developments and tools that the industry has started using to engage with audiences?
Well, see, there are certain thumb rules to the marketing which doesn't change, which is you should exactly know who TG is, which is the most critical thing, that I know who exactly is my audience for this film is. Customizing your communication, which and your strategy, which is, these are thumb rules. Okay. But I think again, coming to what digital marketing has done, penetration wise, influencer marketing, and stuff like those that have come in, and we have something called as fan groups today for bigger stars. So there's like a whole community messaging that can be done within that. Like I was very amazed, like especially for like big actors like Shah Rukh, and like fan group activations really work, and it works because it penetrates deep down to the ground levels, and it's city wise, and it can be done region wise, and like they have fan groups, and like like Rajni sir has like a massive reach. So, these are people where you can work with fan groups. But yes, so things, those are some very, very important tools which are, but my bigger concerns, which I always have, are two, which are thumb rules, are your creatives, very, very important. Your communication is all about what I'm rolling out. So those are very, very critical to any film, I feel. Music, very, very critical these days, I've realized, because it becomes a great marketing tool because of your reels and all that gets made, and there's so much being content, that it kind of adds to your global reach digitally. Like we all know what it does. I mean, we all see reels every day. So I think these are some newer tools which helps us get the engagement. and the hook step, being recreated and the music being used, and you suddenly are part of the bigger algorithm then. It's not about me pushing my content through a certain paid channels. Oh, this is where I'm going to advertise. But, when I really get to a point where I can get to a ground level where I have a person, really wanting to recreate that content and put that out as their own content, it kind of gives me much bigger advertising that I can not even think of. Like few years back, I couldn't think of this. You become literally, we collaborating on promoting my film. So I think those are things which are very, very redefining the way marketing is happening today. Viral content, CG marketing. I don't know if you know. I mean, suddenly CG marketing is picking up big time with brands. It's slowly picking up also on films, and so there's suddenly the viral content being created, and so yeah, I mean, pretty much where the digital space has given us an entire universe in its own way to put out there, and the reach, we can't even think of the reach, and so easy at times. It just completely depends on how strategized and creative is the content that you're rolling out.
You also produce and script and develop stories. Tell us about some of the exciting new projects that you're working on.
So I mean, Leela Manju was my first film as a creative producer, and it's still, unfortunately, when we started it, we were hit by the lockdown, and it kind of got stuck in all of that. It's still, I mean, its final edits are ready, and we're kind of in the process of selling that, and hopefully it sees the, it releases somewhere. It's a film which is about LGBTQ drag race, and it talks about very deeper level on, how we look racism works, and how even the gender biases work in the society today. So yes, it's basically a comedy, but it has a very, sweet message of, how we look at the world. So especially the LGBTQ communities, and racism that's so prevalent in our cultures and countries. It's a film which is based in London though, but talks predominantly about the worldview of this whole, issues that's there. There's another beautiful film that we're developing, and we're in the process of writing. It's a father-son story of a father who turns into a rock star for the child. And it's a beautiful story again. So idea is to explore human stories, and uh, happy stories many ways. I think there's too much dark content that's already out there. And I think all of us are in need of a little bit of more happy content, and, human stories which inspire us, which make us laugh. And I think the kind of films we are seeing that are doing well are also very similar. We need to put out more stories of hope and, inspiration, and rip tickling films, and not just have the political dramas, and, which I'm not saying, but I think it's just too much. Also, I
Yes.
think somewhere I feel we do lack a lot of content when it comes to women. We do lack a lot of content when it comes to overall family audiences, especially on the OTTs. It's very about, still very male dominant in terms of, the way the content is out there. So like I end up on Netflix then looking for, because the world content is, where you still have a lot of content for women.
Yes,
So yeah,
absolutely.
ideas, that's where my idea was, where I could make more content, which is idea is where, it's more inclusive of everybody, and family and women and stuff like that, but a little more happier.
Svetlana, thank you for this engaging discussion, and for bringing to light that it's not just entertainment, but marketing of entertainment that is really key. I really wish you all the very best, and I hope to see more, films on women and, the rights that we normally don't see. Thank you so much for this discussion.
Thank you so much. It's been a great pleasure speaking to you. And yeah, I mean, I hope whatever I said has travels and has some more impact, and we see more women-led and more happy content out there.
Thank you.
Thank you.